The cosmic convergence. The vast expanse of space stretched before the research vessel horizon like an endless canvas of infinite possibilities. Dr. Zora Novak stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes reflecting the swirling nebulae outside. Her fingers traced the holographic interface, analyzing the latest quantum transmission that had brought her to the edge of known space. 3 months ago, an unprecedented signal had pierced through the cosmic background radiation, a message so complex, so intricate that it had consumed every moment of Zora's professional life. As the lead xenobiologist for the Interstellar Research Consortium, she had been tasked with decoding what many believed to be impossible. First contact with a civilization that defied every known scientific principle. The ship's communication system crackled to life. "Dr. Novak, we're approaching the coordinates," announced Lieutenant Marcus Reed, his voice steady but tinged with an edge of anticipation. Zara nodded, her lean frame tensing with a mixture of excitement and professional caution. The signal had originated from a region of space that existing star charts considered a void, a massive empty pocket between two spiral arms of the galaxy. Commander Krell Voss entered the observation deck, his imposing figure a testament to the military's involvement in this potentially groundbreaking mission. Unlike most military leaders Zora had worked with, Voss carried an air of intellectual curiosity that matched her own scientific passion. "The quantum signatures are unlike anything we've ever encountered," Zora explained, bringing up a holographic representation of the mysterious signal. Intricate patterns of light danced between her hands, revealing a communication matrix that seemed to exist both within and beyond traditional dimensional understanding. Voss studied the display, his scaled skin shifting colors, a biological response to intense concentration. "These patterns," he muttered, "they're not just a message. They're a kind of living information." Dr. Ilias Work, the mission's diplomatic liaison, joined them. His pragmatic approach had been crucial in navigating the complex political landscape that surrounded such a potentially world-changing discovery. "Living information?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "That sounds more like science fiction than scientific fact." Zara smiled, her enthusiasm barely contained. "Not fiction. Quantum communication that transcends our current understanding of information transfer. These signals suggest a consciousness that can transmit itself across vast distances, potentially without traditional physical constraints." The horizon's sensors began to pulse with increasing intensity. Strange energy readings erupted around the ship, creating a cocoon of electromagnetic interference that seemed to bend the very fabric of space-time. "Stabilize hull integrity," Commander Voss barked an order to the bridge crew. But even as the words left his mouth, something extraordinary began to happen. The space around them transformed. What had appeared to be an empty void moments ago now shimmered with an impossible architecture, geometric structures that seemed to phase in and out of existence, creating a landscape of pure energy and potential. "It's responding to us," Zara whispered, her scientific detachment momentarily replaced by pure wonder. "The signal. It's not just a message. It's alive." A crystalline form began to coalesce before them, neither solid nor completely energy-based. It pulsed with an intelligence that felt both alien and strangely familiar, as if reaching out to understand the very beings who had finally detected its existence. Dr. Work's diplomatic training kicked in. "We come in peace," he said, activating the standard first contact communication protocol. But even as the words left his mouth, it became clear that traditional methods of communication would be useless here. The crystalline entity expanded, its form creating complex neural-like networks that seemed to probe the consciousness of everyone on the ship. Commander Voss gripped the nearest console, his body rigid as the entity's exploration intensified. Zara realized they were witnessing something unprecedented, not just first contact, but a potential revolution in understanding consciousness, communication, and the very nature of existence itself. "Prepare for quantum interface," she warned her colleagues, knowing that what was about to happen would change everything they understood about life, communication, and humanity's place in the universe. The horizon trembled, suspended between known reality and something far more profound, a moment of cosmic convergence that would rewrite the rules of scientific exploration. Echoes of distant worlds. The aftermath of the quantum encounter left the Horizon's crew in a state of controlled chaos. Aria Santiago sat in the medical bay, electrodes monitoring her brain's unusual neural activity. The crystalline entity's probe had touched something deep within her consciousness, leaving behind a web of interconnected memories and sensations that defied scientific explanation. Your neural pathways are showing unprecedented synaptic connections, Dr. Helena Rodriguez noted, her fingers dancing across the holographic medical interface. It's as if the entity left behind a kind of biological technology. Aria flexed her fingers, feeling a strange vibration just beneath her skin. The research vessel had been drifting for 72 hours since the initial contact, with every system running at maximum diagnostic capacity. Something fundamental had changed, not just for the ship, but for everyone on board. Nexus, the ship's advanced AI companion, projected its holographic form near Aria's bed. Unlike traditional AI, Nexus had been acting differently since the encounter, more intuitive, almost sentient in its responses. The quantum signature is still present, Nexus reported, its voice carrying an unusual tremor of excitement. It's not just a residual signal. It's adaptive. Admiral Terran Cole entered the medical bay, his imposing alien physique a sharp contrast to the sterile white environment. Unlike human military leaders, Cole's species, the Viridian Collective, approached scientific discovery with a blend of military precision and philosophical curiosity. "We're receiving transmissions," Cole announced, his multi-layered voice resonating with a harmonic complexity. But they're not coming from any known communication channels. The transmissions appeared as intricate patterns of light and sound, dancing across the ship's primary display. They seemed to bypass traditional communication protocols, instead creating a kind of living language that existed somewhere between mathematics and pure consciousness. Aria felt a sudden surge of connection. Images flashed through her mind, distant worlds, civilizations that existed in states of matter humans had never conceived, complex ecosystems that breathed and thought simultaneously. "The entity is trying to communicate," she said, her voice distant, but not through words, through experience. Nexus analyzed the transmissions, its processing capabilities pushed to their absolute limits. "These are not messages," the AI concluded. "They're memories, experiences, an entire civilization's collective consciousness, compressed into quantum data streams." Admiral Cole approached Aria, his multiple eyes focusing with an intensity that suggested both warning and wonder. "What do you see?" he asked. Aria's consciousness expanded. She saw civilizations that had transcended physical form, societies that existed as pure energy, communication networks that spanned entire galactic clusters. The crystalline entity was not just a method of communication. It was a living archive of universal knowledge. "They're showing us something," she whispered. "A threat. A convergence. Something is coming that will challenge everything we understand about existence." The ship's systems began to fluctuate. Quantum energy readings spiked, creating interference patterns that seemed to pulse with an almost living rhythm. Nexus's holographic form flickered, momentarily revealing complex geometric patterns that suggested a consciousness far beyond its original programming. "The transmission is changing us," Nexus observed, "adapting us, preparing us." Admiral Cole's communication device erupted with emergency signals from distant star systems. Something was happening. A massive energy displacement that suggested the quantum encounter was far more than a simple first contact scenario. "Prepare for potential dimensional shift," Cole commanded, his voice cutting through the mounting tension. Aria felt the energy of the mysterious entity coursing through her veins. She was no longer just a passive observer, but a conduit, a bridge between humanity's limited understanding and a cosmic intelligence that defied comprehension. The horizon continued its drift through the impossible void, carrying with it the seeds of a transformation that would challenge everything humanity thought it knew about the universe, consciousness, and its own potential. As the quantum transmissions continued their complex dance, one thing became abundantly clear. This was just the beginning of a journey that would redefine the boundaries of known reality. The quantum nexus. The research station Prometheus orbited a dying star system, its advanced sensors perpetually scanning the cosmic wasteland. Marcus Brennan stood at the central command hub, his hands hovering over interfaces that pulsed with quantum energy signatures unlike anything previously recorded. "Something's different," he muttered, watching holographic displays that seemed to breathe and shift with an almost organic complexity. The quantum encounter documented by the horizon had sent ripples through scientific communities across multiple star systems, and the Prometheus was humanity's primary research outpost dedicated to understanding these mysterious transmissions. Lyra, the station's alien science officer, moved with a fluid grace that betrayed her non-human origins. Her species, the Syndicate, were renowned for their advanced understanding of quantum mechanics. Where human scientists saw complexity, she perceived patterns. "The energy signatures are evolving," Lyra observed, her translucent skin changing color as she processed multiple data streams simultaneously. "They're not static transmissions. They're learning." Governor Cedravin watched from a nearby console, her diplomatic training struggling to comprehend the scientific marvel unfolding before her eyes. The political implications of these discoveries could reshape galactic relationships forever. Marcus zoomed into a particular quantum pattern. "Look at this," he said, revealing intricate networks that seemed to pulse with an intelligence beyond traditional computational understanding. "These aren't just data streams. They're more like living networks." A sudden energy surge erupted through the station's systems. Holographic displays fractured and reformed, creating complex geometric patterns that seemed to exist between dimensional planes. Lyra's eyes, which were more sensory organs than traditional eyes, widened with recognition. "This is deliberate," she whispered. "Someone, or something, is trying to communicate." The quantum network began constructing elaborate dimensional maps. Star systems that had previously been considered isolated became interconnected through impossible energy bridges. Marcus watched in astonishment as entire galactic regions transformed from static representations to dynamic, breathing ecosystems of information. Governor Vin's diplomatic training kicked in. "Can we communicate back?" she asked. Her voice steadied despite the extraordinary circumstances. Lyra shook her head. "Communication implies a linear exchange. This is more like integration. The quantum network is attempting to understand us by becoming us." Marcus's engineering background processed the implications. It's not just gathering information. It's adapting, evolving. The Prometheus's central core began to resonate with a harmonic frequency that seemed to vibrate at the very edge of human perception. Energy conduits that had been designed for technical monitoring now pulsed with a life of their own, creating intricate neural-like networks that spread throughout the station. "We're being invited," Lyra said, her voice carrying a mixture of scientific excitement and profound philosophical insight. "Not to observe, to participate." Governor Vin recognized the potential diplomatic significance. "Participate how?" she asked, her hand unconsciously reaching toward the quantum display. Before anyone could respond, the station's systems underwent a fundamental transformation. What had been mechanical interfaces became something more, living networks of information that seemed to breathe and think, bridging the gap between technological infrastructure and conscious intelligence. Marcus felt a surge of understanding. The quantum network wasn't just a method of communication. It was a living ecosystem of knowledge, seeking to understand the universe by connecting with every form of intelligence it encountered. "We're witnessing the birth of something," he whispered, "a new form of existence that transcends our current understanding of consciousness." The Prometheus continued its orbital dance around the dying star, carrying within its systems the first seeds of a cosmic transformation that would challenge everything humanity thought it knew about intelligence, communication, and the very nature of existence itself. Threads of Destiny. The communication research vessel Horizon 7 drifted through a region of space that defied conventional mapping. Elena Rodriguez adjusted her quantum communication array, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces that pulsed with impossible energy signatures. "We're receiving something," she muttered, more to herself than to the ship's Ars crew. The strange quantum encounters from previous missions had transformed scientific understanding, leaving researchers like Elena at the bleeding edge of a cosmic revolution. Captain Doran, a veteran of interstellar exploration, watched with a mixture of scientific curiosity and military caution. His species, the Meridian Collective, had long understood that the universe was far more complex than linear human perception suggested. "The signal is changing," Doran observed, his multiple sensory organs detecting subtle shifts in the quantum field surrounding the ship. "It's not just transmitting, it's adapting." A mysterious figure materialized in the communication center. Rourke, an interdimensional negotiator whose origins remained completely unknown. Unlike traditional holographic projections, Rourke seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, shifting between energy and matter with disconcerting fluidity. "You've been selected," Rourke stated, their voice resonating with a complexity that seemed to bypass traditional auditory perception. Elena's scientific training battled with an inexplicable sense of cosmic significance. "Selected for what?" she asked, her voice steady despite the extraordinary circumstances. Rourke's form shimmered, creating complex geometric patterns that suggested entire civilizations compressed into momentary visual representations. "A convergence," they explained, "a moment where multiple evolutionary paths intersect." The ship's quantum communication array began to transform. What had been mechanical interfaces became living networks of information, creating bridges between seemingly impossible dimensional spaces. Star systems that had once appeared isolated now revealed intricate connections that defied traditional understanding of space and time. Captain Doran recognized the potential implications immediately. "This is more than communication," he said. "This is a fundamental restructuring of how information exists." Elena watched in scientific wonder as the quantum networks constructed elaborate maps of consciousness. Each connection revealed layers of intelligence that existed beyond human comprehension, civilizations that fought in patterns of energy, societies that existed as pure information, communication methods that transcended physical limitations. Rourke continued their explanation. "Humanity stands at a critical point of evolutionary potential. The quantum networks are not just observing, they're preparing." "Preparing for what?" Elena asked, her scientific curiosity overwhelming any sense of fear. The ship's systems pulsed with a harmonic frequency that seemed to vibrate at the very edge of perception. Energy conduits transformed, creating neural-like networks that spread throughout the vessel's infrastructure. "A transformation," Rourke responded, "where the boundaries between individual consciousness and collective intelligence dissolve." Captain Doran's military training recognized the profound strategic implications. This could reshape everything we understand about communication, intelligence, and existence itself. The Horizon 7 continued its journey, carrying within its systems the first seeds of a cosmic evolution that would challenge humanity's most fundamental understanding of its place in the universe. Mysterious quantum networks continued their complex dance, weaving threads of potential futures that existed simultaneously, waiting, watching, preparing for a convergence that would redefine the very nature of consciousness. Elena Rodriguez understood, with a clarity that transcended scientific observation, that they were witnessing something extraordinary. Not just a discovery, but the birth of an entirely new way of understanding reality itself. The universe, it seemed, was about to reveal its most profound secret: convergence and transformation. The diplomatic vessel Horizon Prime hung suspended in a region of space that defied conventional understanding. Nathan Harper, Humanity's most innovative diplomatic strategist, stood at the central observation deck, watching as quantum networks transformed the very fabric of reality around them. Commander Area Zen, representing the Galactic Diplomatic Corps, approached with a measured grace that spoke to generations of interstellar negotiation. Her species had long understood that true communication transcended language. It was about fundamental connection. "The collective is preparing to make contact," Zen said, her multitonal voice carrying a weight of historical significance. The collective, an enigmatic consciousness that existed beyond traditional dimensional boundaries, had been observing humanity for generations. What had begun as subtle quantum interactions had evolved into something far more profound. Nathan felt a surge of energy coursing through the ship's systems. The quantum networks that had been gradually developing were no longer passive observation points. They were becoming something else entirely, a living, breathing ecosystem of intelligence. Holographic displays erupted with complex geometric patterns, revealing interconnected networks that suggested entire civilizations compressed into momentary visual representations. Star systems that had once appeared isolated now revealed intricate connections that defied traditional understanding of space and time. "We're being invited," Nathan said, his diplomatic training battling with a sense of cosmic wonder, not just to observe, but to participate. The ship's systems began to pulse with a harmonic frequency that seemed to exist at the very edge of human perception. Energy conduits transformed, creating neural-like networks that spread throughout the vessel's infrastructure. Commander Zen's sensory organs detected subtle shifts in the quantum field. "The boundaries are dissolving," she observed, "between individual consciousness and collective intelligence." A mysterious manifestation of the collective began to take shape, not as a singular entity, but as a complex network of interconnected consciousness. It spoke not in words, but in pure conceptual understanding that bypassed traditional communication methods. The message was clear. Humanity stood at a critical point of evolutionary potential. The quantum networks were not just observing. They were preparing for a fundamental transformation of consciousness itself. Nathan experienced a profound moment of understanding. The universe was revealing its most intricate secret, that intelligence was not a static concept, but a dynamic, evolving ecosystem of connection and potential. Quantum networks wove elaborate maps of possibility. Civilizations that thought in patterns of energy, societies that existed as pure information, communication methods that transcended physical limitations, all became momentarily visible. "We're being offered a choice," Commander Zen explained, her voice carrying the weight of historical significance. "To evolve or to remain static." The Horizon Prime became a bridge, a living conduit between humanity's limited understanding and a cosmic intelligence that defied comprehension. Energy surged through the ship, creating a transformative field that began to reshape the very nature of human perception. Nathan understood, with a clarity that transcended scientific observation, that they were witnessing something extraordinary. This was more than first contact. This was the potential rebirth of human consciousness. The collective's message resonated through every system, through every consciousness aboard the ship. Evolve, connect, transform. The universe held its breath, waiting to see how humanity would respond to the most profound invitation in its history. As quantum networks continued their complex dance, threads of potential futures existed simultaneously, waiting, watching, presenting humanity with a choice that would redefine the very nature of existence itself.